What is going on, everybody? It is Ozzy from OzTalksHW, and here with me I have this $5 GPU courtesy of VisionTek. So VisionTek periodically lists their VisionTek Mysterybox, which is basically previous generation refurbished GPUs that they need to get rid of, so they sell them at super cheap prices. The one I have, I purchased for $5, but they do have video cards up to $15 that include AMD GCN architecture. Pretty cool. So the video card that I got is the Radeon 3850 of the 256 megabyte flavor. Pretty bad by today's standards, but for only $5, I really can't complain. Being the inquisitive person I was, or I am, I guess, I decided to pop this guy into my PC and see how well it plays its older titles from its era and then some newer, lighter titles as well. So when I first installed the 3850, I couldn't make it past the login screen because it kept freezing or blue screening. It turns out that the 3850 is not compatible with Crimson drivers. Who would have guessed? So what I did was I booted into safe mode and I uninstalled the Crimson drivers, and then I installed the Catalyst drivers from the 3850's era. I actually could not use the downloaded package from AMD's website because it's incompatible with Windows 10, so I had to force install everything through the control panel. Anyway, after all of that, I finally got it to work, and let me tell you that I am very surprised at how well this thing performed. So I tested 10 games total, 6 from its era and then 4 more recent titles, and from the games from its era, I ran those all at 1280 by 1024, considering that was the most popular resolution at the time. All of the other games, the newer ones, I ran them all at 1080p. So without any further ado, let's get right into the benchmarks. The original BioShock was definitely one of the smoothest, if not the smoothest title I tested from the 3850's time period. At maximum settings, I averaged about 100 FPS and hardly ever dipped below 60. It was quite an enjoyable experience overall. The original Portal, though not as smooth as BioShock, delivered some pretty solid FPS too. At maximum settings, minus medium shadows and textures, I scraped out a 47 FPS average and stayed above 30 the entire time. There were hiccups ever so often whenever I created a portal with my portal gun, which was pretty often, as you can imagine. That took away from the gameplay, but still, it was playable. In Fallout 3, using the Ultra preset, I averaged about 55 FPS and hit a minimum of 31. The game had the second biggest disparities in frame times. Hiccups and spikes were not uncommon, even when I was not in a combat scene. The game was still a lot of fun to play and definitely still playable, but not as enjoyable as I had hoped. I averaged 51 FPS in Elder Scrolls Oblivion and usually maintained that performance level until I reached combat scenes. Those killed the FPS, and despite the minimum being 31, it felt a lot choppier because of the frame delays. Still gets the playable seal of approval, but combat could be better. Halo 2, like BioShock, was very fluid the entire time. Even during large fight scenes, I never dipped under 57 FPS and hovered around 60 the majority of the time. If the game could receive a Steam award, it would take the cake for best performance on a $5 GPU. Seriously though, it was great. The very last game from this era was GTA San Andreas. Despite averaging 45 FPS, the game was not smooth at all. It felt jumpy and very jagged, making combat and commutes difficult in the game. Out of all of them, it was my least favorite to play. Now onto games made within the last few years, and by the last few, I mean less than 9. Considering League of Legends could run on a calculator, running it on an actual computer with a dedicated graphics card was no sweat. I easily averaged over 60 FPS with maximum settings and stayed in the 80s most of the time. CSGO was a bit tougher to run, but the 3850 still managed to hold up. At medium settings, it averaged 36 but dipped below 30 more often than I would like. It didn't really affect gameplay that often, so it was not a huge deal. Next is Rocket League. At 1080p on the lowest preset, I averaged 67 FPS but found myself jumping down to the 40s semi-frequently. The jumps were noticeable in-game, but not noticeable enough to constitute a rage quit, so yet again, not a huge deal. Lastly, we have the 2009 title Left 4 Dead 2. It averaged 79 FPS and had a minimum of 59 FPS, but gameplay felt choppier than that, especially when several zombies spawned on screen. The numbers don't lie though, and an average of 79 while basically maintaining 60 FPS is a win in my book. So my final thoughts. Overall, I'm pretty proud of this GPU. For $5, I got pretty good performance. Now, would I recommend it? If you're building a super ultra budget PC and you need a super ultra budget GPU, maybe. If you want to get high on nostalgia, perhaps. But if you're not in any of these two categories, then definitely not. It was a good buy, and for $5, definitely get it if you can, because you don't really lose anything and you're getting a functional product. But if you're not getting it for $5, it's pretty bad. It lacks DirectX 12, it has a fourth of a gigabyte of VRAM, and it uses pretty archaic memory. I do recommend trying out VisionTek's Mysterybox though. I do know that some people have gotten pretty awesome video cards at the $15 tier. I personally haven't. I got a pretty crappy one when I ordered that, but you know, it's a whole luck of a draw type thing. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I think the VisionTek Mysterybox only opens up during the holiday season. So you can't really try it out right now, but in a few months, you should be able to. So that is it for this video, guys, but before I go, I have the very first installment of the Friday Setup series. Now, I only got 5 responses on my Google Forms, which is less than I had hoped and expected, but as long as I have some submissions in there, then I will keep doing this. I also haven't memorized the first submitter's build, so I have my laptop with me to kind of guide me through this, but very first person. So this week we have Melanie from South Carolina set up. It's a Pentium G4400 and RX 470 combo that she copped for only $250 with several of the parts coming from eBay. Very smart buyer. She uses it for gaming, schoolwork, and YouTube editing. She even got lights and peripherals to create a Joker theme. I'm very impressed, honestly. She did really well, so show her some love for that fantastic submission if you can. So if you want to be a part of Friday Setups, then check out the Google form in the description. It takes like 10 minutes to fill out, honestly, and you get a chance to be on the channel and be showcased in front of people. So if you're about that, definitely check that out. If you like this video, then definitely leave a like and share it, and if you loved it, definitely subscribe because I have more videos like this coming out soon. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
DJ saved my life from a broken